Hey everyone, I'm Carrie Job, and I've been hanging out with the Constable family, a family who had to trust God and chose to trust God in the midst of some really dark times. And just hearing them talk about how God sustained them and them using worship and just trusting God and singing worship to God in the midst of the whole thing. And the story about Kelsey Constable was so impacting in my life that I had to share it with you. So I'm excited for you to watch this video and to meet the Constable family.
A year after we got married, totally unexpectedly, I think it's pretty typical, Trina got pregnant.
Along comes Kelsey.
Yeah, and she was born pretty quickly. I mean, it's like 8 hours or something. She was perfect. There was, nothing wrong. They do the check over thing, and completely healthy, full head of hair, tiny little baby.
We really rejoiced because it had been a long, hard pregnancy.
When Kelsey was 5 months old, we started to notice, that she was starting to feel sick. She started to get deformed, and like her face had swelling, and there was just some real definite things that were sticking out in her mind that this is just not right. So Trina took Kelsey to the pediatrician, and she said immediately that, this is kind of...
Something was definitely very wrong with Kelsey, and a couple hours later, I got a phone call from the doctor. She said she has leukemia. And at that point, my mind just went into denial because my dad died of leukemia when I was 4. And I said, this can't even be it.
So the first person that we saw that day, her name was Dr. Browning. She came in and she was giving us the real report. Like she was saying, it's the type of leukemia that Kelsey has is called acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And they said, so because she's not a year, and it becomes extremely rare. She said there's 5 cases of this happening in infants a year.
I just kept crying the entire time. They wouldn't even give us a percentage of chance of her even surviving. So Kelsey started her treatments. It was a struggle for her to breathe after that. She could breathe on her own, and she was put in intensive care for
7 days. It was a real battle in there to really stay focused and believe that she was going to come out of this thing okay. Ready?
Yeah. Do I have things on there?
There were so many things on her that you could barely touch her. I started telling the doctors, today's the day. She's getting out of here.
Paul stayed with her the entire time in intensive care. I was on my knees fighting for her life, in the other room.
The first time I heard Healer, the thing that stuck out to me most about that song is the way it captures the mentality that you have when you're in that situation. In the words of the song, I believe you're my portion, you're more than enough, because you don't have enough to carry you through, and you're relying on God to fill all the void, which is enormous. So we put that music on before we prayed, just to kind of help give peace, because when you're in a worshipful state, it takes a fear out. What we wanted was a compilation of miracles that were so great that no one could deny the fact that it was God that did it and not just a combination of good doctors.
I wasn't going to be sucked into hearing any kind of negative. Nothing. All I wanted to focus on was what God had said. And So I just go back to His Word.
You know, that was one of the things that you had said earlier was about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace, and how they weren't touched. They didn't come out smelling like smoke. Their clothes weren't burned. They were completely unharmed, and that's the way Kelsey walked from this thing. Little things, day-to-day things, like her battle out of surgery to be able to wake up and breathe on her own again. That was a miracle. The fact that she went into remission immediately when her treatment started, that was a miracle. That was totally unexpected. She had golden blonde hair instead of black coarse hair. She was on pace with everything she needed to be, you know, psychologically and physically. She wasn't behind. Not a single side effect. Her body was literally untouched.
Everybody that ever saw her would say, I would never know
They would say
that
she was
anything is
beautiful,
wrong
you know.
with her, because you couldn't tell.
So she had finished her treatment, which was supposed to be 48 weeks, just under a year. And they said if she survives, don't expect anything less than 2 years. And she was done in under a year and a half. Dr. Kelly, the one that really just had a passion for Kelsey, he was the director of the Fellowship of Doctors, so he was like the teacher of the teachers. And he had just taken a real personal interest in Kelsey. I remember him saying that there was very little that they did to create the responsiveness that she had, and that he didn't expect any damage, any long-term effects, and that she was healed. God heals, and Kelsey is proof. She's walking around not touched by something. She didn't go through a process that she was able to fight through on her own, or that, you know, medicine did it. She's healed because God healed her, and if He'll do it for her, He'll do it for everybody.